All right, welcome back to Noob School. You've come to a good episode, I got to tell you. This is the place you come to hear interviews with people who have done great in business that happen to have started out in sales. So we're trying to dial it back and find out how they started, why they started, what they did well, what they wouldn't do the next time, and then also just some general business advice from things they've learned over time. And today, I've kind of, sports vernacular, kind of hit a home run because I've got one of the most successful people, I would say, in the state of South Carolina, Leighton Cubbage, who's been a friend a long time. Leighton was a great football player through high school, won a state championship, and then went on and played for the Clemson Tigers, ran down the hill
got down
4 years.
Yeah, 4.
And then somehow took that competitive thing and took it to the world of sales. So, Leighton, I know you're a busy man. Thank you for being here today.
It's my pleasure.
Good.
Yeah.
So, the first question is, coming out of Clemson, was AT&T your first job?
No. I came out of Clemson. My last day of football, I went over and I needed a job. So I walked in a pizza place that a guy in a political science class had told me about. And he said, go to Chanello's Pizza and you can make like 18% of whatever you deliver. I said, oh my God, I'm going to be broke, totally broke. So I went over there and I said, listen, I need a job. And the guy said, can you start right now? I said, yes. Yeah. And so ended up being a pizza delivery guy as I was still trying to get out of college, and ultimately went down to Columbia and started a couple pizza restaurants.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't know that part of the story. Gosh, I'm going to have to talk to our research department on this. I should have been told this information. So you got in the pizza business while you were still at Clemson.
Yeah.
And then opened up a few in Columbia.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And then how did that go?
It was great. It was like the business, we were the first people in Columbia to deliver pizzas, and we were close to the University of South Carolina. Yeah. So it exploded, and it was just absolutely crazy. And so I worked 7 days a week. We were open on Sundays, Saturdays, and my first wife took a vacation and said she's not coming back till I got out of it. So I had some money in the bank, and I had bought a little small house, and I told everybody I was retired. And then my mother comes driving over from Sumter, and while I'm retired, sitting in the house, and she goes, "What are you doing? You're an idiot." And I said, "I'm retired." She said, "You don't have enough money retired. You're 20-some years old." I said, "Okay." She said, "I'm getting you a job." And my mother went back to Sumter and called a friend of hers, and they made me a manager in a paint store, Southern Coatings paint store on Rosewood Drive, which was kind of nuts. And I evolved into the carpet business because they were selling carpet, and I figured out how to sell carpet and work with developers and stuff like that. And the Great Depression that happened down there, when the interest rates went like 21% in the 70s.
Late 70s?
Yeah. The carpet stopped. So I was totally bankrupt. I lost my car, and everybody was booing me, and I had in fact, 1981 now I remember. And so my wife at the time said, "You just need to get a real job and quit doing this carpet business." And so she saw an interview with ITT, International Telephone and Telegraph, and I went to the Sheraton in Greenville and had an interview with a guy. I've never been in sales, and the guy was just this guy from corporate New York. Yeah. He gave me this big long talk, but then he wanted to talk about Clemson football, and I played about as much as he did, in real games. Yeah. So he had this big. He liked me, and at the end of the interview, he told me that the guy in the job the last time had made $70,000 a year, and $70,000 would be like $7 million. It was just the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So I ended up calling the guy at home and talking more to him. I looked him up, found him, and called him and said, listen, I really need that job, and I'll go crazy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the telecom thing started.
Wow. So you went straight entrepreneur, bang, bang, 2 times right after Clemson.
Yeah.
And the first one was remarkable.
Yeah, it was.
And the second one you got hit by.
Yeah, it was. We were one of the biggest seller of Armstrong carpet and floor covering, but at the same time, I didn't know squat about how to run a business, and it was all about getting more orders. And all of a sudden, the world stopped. And there was nobody building houses or selling houses, so the carpet business stopped.
No carpet.
I had like 4 or 5 crews putting it in all day long everywhere.
Yeah.
And then the crews were coming to me going, "We don't have any work."
Yeah.
And
I think there's a lesson, kind of a hidden lesson there for people that are very entrepreneurial like you and I are. And I had the same thing. I had a couple of things that didn't work. Yeah. And I went to, I remember Clarence Balk night, and I said, hey, I want to do something else, and I want to find another thing. And he goes, you might just want to get a job for a year or two.
Yeah.
Just get insurance.
Yeah. I think people that are kind of natural want to attack entrepreneurs. Sometimes we don't do our homework well enough. We go running it,
That's because somebody else may get it.
Yeah, let's go hit some. Yeah, right.
They may get it if we don't jump on it quick.
Yeah, that's right. But those lessons are valuable.
Well, all right. So, So, what age were you when you started with telecom?
I guess I was around 20. Let's see, about 28, something like that, 27 or 28.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was great because International Telephone and Telegraph, they had a microwave tower group going where they could complete calls to like 12 cities. Mm-hmm. So I'd walk in to sell somebody and say, do you call Atlanta? And everybody says, yeah. Mm-hmm. I said, well, I got something to help you. But I was trained in New York and Manhattan and Park Avenue and all that, and they had great training. Yeah. It was a brand new thing. Yeah. And I was starving to death, and so
you're hustling.
Yeah. And I'd say for, when we're talking about oriented toward the newbies, it's no shame to be broke, but just don't stay broke, and we would, I was so intense in getting orders and making sure that everything that I was going to compete with to be one of the tops, so that I would not even, I ate very few lunches. Mm-hmm. I didn't fill out the orders during the day when anybody was there. Mm-hmm. And I was just kind of psycho about it. And I did well. I did well there.
And how many years were you there?
About 2.5.
So you nailed it. You learnred it.
Yeah.
And then they broke up.
Yeah.
The AT&T.
And I tell you this too. This is had a boss that was kind of like the guy on The Office, where you would just, that guy did everything like that. Yeah. And he was. They were almost as I went up through the performance and stuff, he wanted to stop me and make me smoother and more sophisticated and whatever. And he was always saying, you will not make this many sales if you don't blah, blah, blah. And he was just kind of corporate pressured, know, and it was a real deal. And he wasn't a good guy, so I was.
That's part of what ran you off?
It was, a big part of it. And the other thing is just learning how to treat people. I remember, the way that I was treated, and, I was producing, but, the guy wasn't real happy I was producing that much. How do you lead the nation and you're from Spartanburg and Greenville? They didn't like that. Mm-hmm. And so, but I was, full on effort. Mm-hmm. Total effort, just nothing else but that. So,
and how was you for the noobs? This is going back a couple of years, but you're out there trying to generate appointments with people that would be buying this service. Yeah. How would you get in the door?
I think the first thing is you got to have a bias for action. Mm-hmm. You can't talk yourself out of getting in the door. Mm-hmm. And more people stop themselves from picking up the phone or going to see somebody by what they're saying to themselves. And so I got to go get my car washed. I got to get this done. No, you know what? We need to go see some people.
Yeah.
And quit confusing activity on your desk with being in front of a customer.
Yeah.
And you've got to create the accurate mindset to be able to go, I'm going over to see them. I'm going to enjoy seeing them.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to love me. Mm-hmm. What are you saying to yourself?
Mm-hmm.
We become what we think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So watch your thoughts, watch who you're around, and get out there. Just go. Yeah. Just put one step in front of another. Make a list as a basic fundamental. Mm-hmm. Make a list and go see people and just go see them.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if I can help you, but you got a few minutes?
Yeah.
People appreciate that.
Yeah.
If it's raining, go.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going when it's raining.
Yeah. It's even better time.
It's better. Go in there wet.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's great. That's
a bias for action.
A bias for action and showing up. I'm telling you, less and less people are showing up. Less and less people are even calling.
Yeah.
It's like, I sent him an email.
Right. He didn't answer my email. You know why? I tell you this. There's a whole headwind that it's hard for someone to say no to you in your face. Mm-hmm. But God, it's bad when they say no.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Got to get over it.
Right.
So what people are doing now, too much, they're letting technology be the buffer.
Right.
So would you like to do this? No. Well, no problem. Let me check Facebook. Boom. Whatever. Mm-hmm. Man, if you want to say no to me, say no to me. Mm-hmm. I want to take the proposal over to meet with you.
Yeah.
And that's how you get more sales.
Yeah.
You don't get them hoping for them.
Yeah. I love it.
You're not a visitor. You're in sales.
I love it. I love it. So a couple years there, crushed it, learned the business in Greenville, Spartanburg.
Yeah.
And then AT&T had to break up into Bell.
It was International Telephone and Telegraph, ITT.
Not AT&T?
It wasn't AT&T. ITT was like a $25 billion company. And
so who broke up?
AT&T and the Bell operating companies broke up.
Okay.
And that gave us the ability to compete.
And so when that happened, obviously you saw it coming, they were talking about it, this might happen.
Yeah.
Were you already thinking this is the perfect time to go do something?
The next company I went with was called Tillman, that was backed by Builder Marts of America.
Okay.
And I got a job in being in charge of outside sales.
And that, so Charlie
Hauser
started that and split it off.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And,
so you went to
the company went public, and it was a wonderful.
Is that where Brother Dan worked? Was he in the next one?
He was the next one. He was in the next one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was at CTG, Corporate Telemanagement Group.
Okay.
A Superman, a legend.
Legend. Well, yeah.
He's a rhino.
He is a rhino.
Yeah. But we were founded by Builder Marts of America, who had the biggest phone bill in South Carolina, or at least one of them.
Okay.
And what happened is they raised the rates on the Watts lines. Uh-huh. And our CEO, Richard Ingram, wrote the president of AT&T and saying, we're going through a depression here in the economy, and you're our biggest vendor, and you've raised our rates right in the middle of this.
Yeah.
And the guy wrote back some arrogant, snappy, scholastic letter.
Yeah.
And Richard Ingram goes, you know what? If they treat their biggest customer like that, guess what? We could kick their ass.
Yeah.
And you know what? We did.
Yes, you did.
And for years later, I always thought about that.
Yeah.
How you treat your customers.
Yeah.
You got to love your customers.
Every one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. So just from a new perspective, Leighton competed at Clemson Sports. He followed two entrepreneurial journeys, one more successful than the other, but he was going for it. Got, I would say, a real job in a real industry, learned it. And I think you did so well that people like Charlie knew about you. They must have.
Here's something embarrassing, but I'll tell it because I got a couple buddies here too, and you'll laugh. But I wanted that job because I knew that I could do better living in South Carolina than ever moving to New York or whatever, and I knew their culture was a bunch of fake stuff. You know, wear the red tie and the white suit, and so when I went in to get the interview with the guy, Bud Stoner, I had a suitcase full of my trophies. So I decided that if he was going to if he was looking like he didn't want to hire me or whatever, I was going to whip that thing out. So during the interview, I opened up my briefcase. He goes, "Here's where I was number one." And if you knew Bud, Bud goes, "Oh my God, look at this."
So you had him.
So I had the job. I got the job. So
did you have to bring a trophy out?
Yeah, I did. I brought him out. Didn't want to.
Well, it's a good point for the noobs. Is you can be as enthusiastic as you want to, but Leighton was backing it up. Yeah. He had 2.5 years of kicking ass out there, being number one in the nation, had the trophies to prove it. Yeah. He deserved that job.
Yeah. I was. Hey, listen, this is not pretty. Sometimes you've got to ask for the business. Timid salespeople have skinny children.
That's right. I love it. So, following along for the noobs. Now, a VP of sales for a small, high-growth telecom company that's going to do great. And that's where you really learned the business and you got equity, got stock options and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was director of sales.
Director of sales.
Yeah.
And then that company got sold tremendously successfully. Mm-hmm. And then you and Charlie and some other people.
No, it was an interim thing. I had a guy that was wanting me to come up to Nashville. Mm-hmm. And at the time, he was going to give me a comp plan that was worth like $100,000 or something. I said, "Well, if you give me a salary of $100,000, I'll come." He said, "You won't come otherwise." I said, "Nope." So he gave me $100,000, and $100,000 was like $1 million.
Yeah. And
so I got the salary, and I went up there, and they had this guy. The chairman of the board was a Harvard MBA, and when I sat down with him, or he was the CEO of the thing. I sat down with him, and he started lecturing me on how to sell long distance. He'd never sold long distance, and he was like saying the budget. And I said, how much would a good salesman be able to do? X. He goes, "Well, we're doubling that, and we're going to hire 20 people, and they're going to all do that." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this guy had an office that had furniture in it from like museums, and the company was only doing like 20 million. So I began to realize that I was making a lot on a salary, but that I started coming back to Greenville, and that's kind of when CTG started.
Yeah. So you all took the knowledge, success from Tillman. Some of those people started up a new company in the same type of field.
That's right.
Brought in a bunch of young, aggressive salespeople.
Great people.
Some like my brother.
Yeah. We all said we're not trying to make great salespeople, but we'll find some. And when you find them, you know it. You know, and then you get out of their way and love them, praise them, and that's where it happens.
And so, by that time, you'd moved up. Were you the president at that time?
Yeah, you were president. Chief COO, president.
So again, this person, for the noobs, this person who started out as a salesperson is now president, head, COO of a soon-to-be big company, but still a salesperson.
You know what? I've been a CEO and a chairman, and you better be able to sell.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing happens if you don't sell.
That's right.
And whether you're raising money or you're talking to customers or whatever, and in the old days, selling had sort of a bad name.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a salesman. But now people understand that.
Yeah.
People do business with people.
Yeah.
It's not companies.
Right.
And so you got to go and pull them together, and that's how you persuade and grow your business.
Right. I agree. So, what would you say, like some of the best decisions that you made along the way that have been helpful to your business career?
Just saying the word Charlie Hauser.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Hauser is the kind of guy that you can trust, that you can believe in, and he will love you if you try, and he will treat you good. And very similar like Dabo Sweeney, and Charlie allowed me to let my God-given natural abilities play.
Mm-hmm.
I never had that before. Charlie would just go, God, Cub, and I'd do all this crazy stuff and everything, but he would love that.
Right.
And then he just, he built this infrastructure where I felt safe and comfortable, and we were partners.
Mm-hmm.
But he's 10 years older than me and about 10 times smarter than me, and 10 times nicer and finer guy. and the love he put on me, I could give to anybody, and I could do whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
He went on a boat trip in February one time, and all of us got together, and we said, well, let's welcome him home so when he gets back, because we've been here working. So we had a big barbecue, and we took white sand and filled his office with sand. It was a February day, and we all had Hawaiian clothes on and everything like that. So just crazy stuff,
So you're saying great decision, number one decision is finding and attaching yourself to a great business mentor.
Hey, get around the right people.
Yeah.
And you only got one life. Get away from the wrong people.
Yeah.
Those wrong thoughts will drive you down. I heard Eddie talking about, not even watching TV because to hear the news. I mean, so many people, that's a nice shirt, but if I threw something on it, you'd want to fight me. But I could sit here and bitch and moan and be a whiny punk and just ruin your head with negative thoughts.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. Well, why? You got to get away from the wrong thoughts.
Yeah.
But then go toward the right thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's big part of winning.
Yeah. And it sounds simple. And I remember hearing simple things like that when I was a noob, and I would hear it, but I didn't really hear it. You know what I mean?
That's
I kind of heard it, but I'm like, yeah. Like Zig Ziglar would say these things, and I would be like, But that one is simple once you understand it.
Yeah.
It is so simple. I mean, when I hang around people like you, and I hang around good, strong, positive people, my life gets better.
Yeah.
And if I hang around the other ones, not so good.
We become what we think about.
Yeah.
And so you can't go hang out with the lowest level and just hang around and hear what they're doing, and they're all, you got to get away, and just stay by yourself if nothing else.
Right. Just stay even.
Hey,
just stay even.
Eddie talked about gratitude.
Yeah.
I've got a list on my phone right now. If I have a little bit of a little twinge, a little something that's not right, I can read that list. The list is about 40 things, and I can read that list. And by the time I get
thankful for,
and it says "Thank you, Lord" at the top, and it's the health of my kids, all those things. I read that thing, and I'm ready to play.
That's smart.
Put me in.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
I love it. That's part of being able to put positive things in your head, like Eddie was talking about, versus letting negative things in.
Right.
That's wonderful. I've got something like that too that I look at every morning. Like part of my morning checklist is all positive things. Now, all the different things. First of all, one crazy question. One time, you and I were looking at a business for booking doctor's appointments or something, but I was going to ask you. You were also looking at one that was like flying men. Like in the sky, out in Portland. Whatever happened with that?
My brother-in-law actually built this thing, and it was on CNN, and he was needing some help on distribution. So that went pretty well for a while.
Good.
And we've my wife has had a company with him making toys. And so they sell those things all around the world. In fact, the Chinese kind of stole it.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I love about you, I mean, I love your story, obviously, and your friendship, but you're always looking at something new and willing to try something, just like you're willing to try the pizza business or the carpet business, right at school. But I know now, one of the big things you're doing is Lakeside Lodge over at Clemson, right?
Yes.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You tell the noobs about it. Probably a lot of them are Clemson fans. They probably know about it.
Well, my partner Steve Mudge was also on the Clemson football team, and we've been together over 10 years in developing projects and turning things around.
Yeah.
But we got involved with one in Biltmore, the Biltmore residences, and we bought a bunch of that and took it over, and it performed so well. We dreamed to have one in Clemson, and Steve called me one morning and said, "There's a big spot on the lake and it's open. Do you want to do a Biltmore down here on the lake?" And I said, "Yep." And so it's been really good. It's,
after careful review.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's like a lot of analysis.
Yeah, but you Clemson people go there. I mean, you go for any reason, but game day, they buy the condos, they stay there.
Yeah. It's a condo hotel.
Okay,
and so you can have a unit there, and you stay, and you just pay for the cleanup, and then when you leave, somebody that night comes in and rents it for you.
Okay,
and so so all these old Clemson guys that have bought these units are, a lot of them can write checks for whatever they want to do. But I told everybody, I said, I know when these guys start getting the checks in, they're going to not come here and stay. And so
they want the money.
Yeah, they want the money.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like money. I said, those old guys that were broke at Clemson and now they've done so well and everything, that they, one of them bought another unit just so he could let his big unit be rented. So it's like it's a profitable thing. It's a great investment for certain people.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very happy for
thank
you.
you.
All the noobs, if you're over at Clemson, check out the Lakeside Lodge. Last question, Leighton.
Okay.
What's your favorite word?
Love.
Love it.
Yeah, you got to love people. You got to love each other. You got to love yourself.
Yeah. Yes.
You got to love your customers. You got to love getting up. You got to love winning. You can go on and on.
Yeah.
I like to, probably if I see this myself, I'll be about to, gag, and I want to say like, God, I was a tough linebacker, but you know what? To hell with it. You know what? Love people.
Yeah.
If you go out and treat people like you want to be treated, they're gonna come to you and be with you. Help them reach their goals.
Yeah.
My old man used to say, you can't outgive God. You get in a given contest, you're gonna get beat.
Well, that's a beautiful word, and thank you. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. This is a real honor to have you on the podcast.
Love what you're doing. Thank you,
my friend.
Take care.
Hey, it's John here. Thanks for listening today. Please check out noobschool.org. That's my website. That's where we have other videos and content that can help you get started in sales.